menstrual cycle is normally just associated with a period, but week on week, our hormones change, and understanding the menstrual cycle and its effects on our training can actually help us to use our physiology to benefit our performance and support our goals. My name is Elle, and I'm a specialist dietitian working in eating disorders and sports nutrition. Shock horror, up until a few years ago, women were very rarely studied in the context of sports nutrition, as we were thought to be too complex. You wouldn't be shocked to know that a lot of the evidence we have is based on the male anatomy and simply applied to women. But we do know that women do experience differences when it comes to performance and strength in comparison to men, and it is due to the fluctuations in hormones and some other factors. It goes without saying, more research needs to be done so women aren't left questioning why they may not be able to progress as efficiently as males. Now I've cleared that up, let's get into it. Here's a quick menstrual cycle 101. The menstrual cycle is more than just the period. It has two phases, the follicular phase and the luteal phase, with ovulation in the middle. It begins on the first day of menstruation, aka the period. For most, the period lasts up to a week and is the first part of the follicular phase. The second half of the follicular phase is followed by ovulation, and ovulation is where an egg is released from the ovaries, and this is normally at around day 14 of the cycle. During the luteal phase, which is the second half of the cycle, the lining of the womb begins to thicken in preparation for pregnancy. This is typically where women experience premenstrual syndrome or PMS symptoms. If the egg is not fertilized, the womb lining sheds, which leads to menstruation, and the cycle begins again. So, how do each of these stages affect training? A majority of changes in strength, performance, and recovery seen throughout the menstrual cycle are attributable to the fluctuations in hormones, estrogen and progesterone. Aside from their roles in reproductive health, estrogen and progesterone have multiple other effects on our physiology. Estrogen is considered to be anabolic and can promote muscle building, whereas progesterone is thought to counteract the effects of estrogen and is associated with protein catabolism, which is also known as muscle breakdown. During the early follicular phase, which is the time when you're on your period, estrogen and progesterone are both low. Studies have observed a slight decrease in performance throughout menstruation in the early follicular phase and in the late luteal phase in comparison to other phases within the cycle. As most women will know, during the period, symptoms like fatigue and low mood are common, which may be associated with these effects too, as interestingly, a recent study found that overall sports performance can be influenced by both the physical factors and the perceived effects. In the late follicular phase and in the lead up to ovulation, there is an increase in estrogen, and this is where increases in energy levels are experienced. Studies have also found that there are greater increases in strength performance in this phase in comparison to the luteal phase. Estrogen is also known to enhance vascular flow, which is associated with benefits for endurance training around this time. Estrogen remains high throughout ovulation, but strength may improve even further due to the assistance of testosterone, which is linked with higher performance. What is interesting and important to note is that the ovulation phase is associated with an increased risk of injury in women. This is quite new evidence, but it is thought to be due to the hormonal changes impacting tendon laxity, which means that the joints can become looser and more prone to injury. Following ovulation in the early luteal phase, estrogen levels begin to drop and progesterone rises. Progesterone is associated with an increase in body temperature, and studies have identified that this could lead to fatiguing quicker in endurance and strength-focused sports in comparison to at baseline body temperature. The effects of this become more apparent when exercising in hot environments. When women enter the late luteal phase, which is the time after ovulation and before their period, hormone levels begin to drop. You'll still benefit and improve in your strength training in the luteal phase, but be sure to have some compassion for yourself and don't be afraid to switch up your workouts in this time for something less intense. Exercise has been shown to have a positive effect on PMS symptoms, but of course, every woman is different, so try to listen to your body and do what feels good for you. So, to summarise, on our periods, there may be a slight dip in performance and endurance in comparison to other phases throughout the cycle. However, exercise can help to ease the symptoms of PMS. Up to and throughout ovulation, thanks to the rise in estrogen, strength and endurance performance is thought to be highest. In the second half of the cycle, progesterone rises, and due to changes in body temperature, endurance and strength training may feel a little bit more challenging. Try not to judge the results of your training based on your performance in this phase, as decreases in performance is a normal experience throughout this time. Remember that everyone is different, and you may not even notice any changes in your performance throughout your cycle. But if you do, tracking your cycle could actually help you to understand what is is going on in your body and allow you to adapt your training accordingly. I hope this video helped to explain how training may be affected by the menstrual cycle and provided you with a little bit of reassurance that it is totally normal to experience dips and peaks in your training. As always, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Myprotein YouTube channel for more great evidence-based nutrition information.